Okay guys, today we are going to learn how to find the zeros of a function given a graph as well as an equation. So let me scroll to the correct area on my worksheet here. Okay, so the zeros of a function graphically, that's the point at which the graph crosses the x-axis. So when you look here at number 1, I have two red dots on the blue graph, and so the zeros of the function are located by looking at the x-axis and looking at the points where the graph crosses the x-axis. So for this number 1 here, the graph crosses at the two red dots, and so our ordered pairs are going to be -2, 0, and 2, 0. Okay, so 2 and -2 are considered or called the zeros of the function. Now, they're also called the roots of the function, the x-intercepts of the function, and the solutions of the function. So those 2 points have 4 names. Okay, they can be called the zeros, the roots, the x-intercepts, or the solutions. All right, let's take a look at number 2 here. Now this I don't have the dots for, so you have to just look and see where it crosses. Well, I can see that it crosses at -3, 0 and 3, 0. Now you notice that your x-intercepts are where the graph crosses the x-axis. That's how you identify the zeros of the function. Because you're not moving off the x-axis, that y value has to be 0 every time. All right, let's take a look at number 3 here. We have only one x-intercept, so that means we only have one zero of the function, and that is going to be 2, 0. Okay, number 4, I'm looking for where the graph crosses the x-axis, and it does not. So here, we do not have any zeros of the function. We do not have any x-intercepts, therefore we write none. Okay, and lastly, number 5, I'm looking again at this graph, and the zeros are -4, 0 and -2, 0. All right, let's move on now to see what has to happen when we are given the functions as an equation. Okay, so the directions here are to find or to let f of x equal 0. Okay, so when f of x is made to be 0, we can find our solutions, or our x-intercepts, our roots, our zeros of the function algebraically. So what I'd like you to do right here, your hint here is let f of x equal 0. So I am going to substitute a 0 in everywhere I see f of x and solve the resulting equation. Well, this problem here, number 1, is f of x is equal to 3x plus 0. That 0 we do not need. We're just going to go ahead and get rid of that. All right, now we're going to let f of x equal 0. So in place of this f of x, I am going to put in a 0 equal to 3. I'm going to divide both sides by 3. So 0 is equal to x. If that's the case, the ordered pair would be 0, 0. I figured out right here that x is equal to 0, and up here I let f of x equal to 0, which is also known as the y value. Y value, f of x value, remember those are all the same from our previous lessons. Okay, number 2, we now have h of x, same thing as f of x. Doesn't matter the variable there, it's just letting you know that this is a function. So instead of f of x equals 0, I'm going to let h of x equal 0. So h of x is equal to 0. All right, so now I have 0 is equal to 2/3 x minus 6. My first step, I'm going to add 6 to both sides. So I now have 6 is equal to 2/3 x. To get x by itself, I multiply by the reciprocal. So x here is equal to, these cancel out, 6 times 3/2 gives us a 9. So the ordered pair is going to be 9, 0. And I'm going to highlight our answers here. So for number 1, it's 0, 0, and number 2, it's 9, 0. Okay, moving on. Let's take a look at number 3. We're going to let f of x equal 0. And again, just to remind you, we are finding the zeros of the function, also known as roots, solutions, x-intercepts. Okay, so 0 is equal to negative x plus 7. I'm going to subtract 7 from both sides, so negative 7 is equal to negative x. I have to divide by a negative 1, so 7 is equal to x. So the resulting ordered pair is 7, 0. 7, 0 represents the x-intercept, also known as the solutions, the roots, and the zeros of the function. So I'm going to highlight that answer for you. All right, and finally, our last example. Here, we have to let g of x equal 0. So 0 is equal to negative 9x minus 81. I have to solve this equation. I'm going to add 81 to both sides. So 81 is equal to negative 9x. I'm going to divide by negative 9. Slide up to give myself some room here. So x is equal to negative 9. Therefore, my ordered pair would be negative 9, 0. Okay, and that's it for finding the zeros of a function. I'll see you in class.